The former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, told President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at a function that he should rest assured that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should rest assured that the so-called, according to him, the so-called coalition of politicians and political parties against his re-election in 2027 is dead on arrival. I want to appeal to Nigerians not to allow the coalition to be dead on arrival, because Nyesom Wike, who is saying this, is from the People's Democratic Party and reassuring President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the All Progressives Congress to be rest assured of his re-election in 2027. So you then question the integrity of the chieftains of the People's Democratic Party still rallying around Nyesom Wike and hoping in him to help them revive the People's Democratic Party. If you have nothing to hang on, if you have nothing else to hang on, why don't you hang on God rather than hanging on Nyesom Wike? I don't want to believe that you are not sincere in your hanging around Wike, but whether you are sensible, because sincerity and sensibility are not the same. You may be sincere and be ignorant in your sincerity. You may be sincere and be foolish in your sincerity. So, but because you have to look at the reality on ground. Nyesom Wike abandoned the People's Democratic Party to get appointment from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu because he sold his Rivers State to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, fielded by another political party, the APC. So, where is this loyalty to the party is glaring beyond guess. So, why, rally around such a person to hope for what? And it's the same. You, common Nigerians, you want the best for yourself, for your country, and you allow the scheming of these self-serving politicians to sway you to the side of the All Progressives Congress to achieve what? To perpetuate degradation. You need to be informed of what is happening around us, of the emergence of Abraham Traore in Burkina Faso, and to see the stride of development in Burkina Faso, for getting somebody who is patriotic, who is focused, while our own rulers Islamize and Christianize the country. And because of that, the overwhelming majority Christians and Muslims are in disarray, even when many of them don't know that the country is in disarray. So, If the coalition is dead on arrival, it means that the retrogression of Nigeria since 2015 till date getting worse rather than improving will continue. There is no doubt that President Tinubu has nothing for Nigeria other than to perpetuate the war against the Boko Haram Muslim community inherited from Umaru Musa Yar'Adua in 2009, perpetuated by Goodluck Ebele Azikiwe Jonathan 2011 to 2015, and by Muhammadu Buhari, who added herdsmen terrorism 2015 to 2023, 8 years, and now by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who said all subsidies are gone and devalued the naira while paying workers less than living wage, and claiming to be transferring funds to indigent households while turning workers' households into indigent households. So if businesses have relocated and are relocating from Nigeria, businesses are shrinking and collapsing in Nigeria. Workers or artisans have minimal patronage, because who will patronize them? The workers are poorly paid, the naira is devalued, hyperinflation is in town, everybody is managed. Even farmers who are being attacked by herdsmen terrorists, whatever they get, sometimes they don't get market for it, and when they get market for it, the patronage is terribly low. And here are politicians, self-serving politicians, trooping into the All Progressives Congress and saying that the coalition against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is dead on arrival. I want to say that the coalition must not be dead on arrival. Workers, artisans, business people rise in support of the coalition, because there is no other way if we want the status quo to change. If we want a better lease of life, we have no option than to rally around this coalition. But the drivers of the coalition must be sensitive to the issue of justice. The All Progressive Congress was not sensitive to the issue of justice when they picked Bola Ahmed Tinubu from the southwest. So zonally, they committed injustice. They were not sensitive to the issue of justice and equity when they insisted on Muslim ticket. Oh my God, that level of insensitivity. So where is sense of balance? And so nothing is balanced, and you think that it must continue that way. If you think that it must not continue that way, then and you want to reposition the country and not just to get power for the sake of getting power, because that's the real issue now. So the coalition will not be dead but victorious if the drivers are sensitive to the issues of justice and equity, zonally and religion wise to start with, and other things must follow. We must reverse all these so-called fuel subsidy in a nation that is living on fuel money and has nowhere to subsidize fuel whatsoever. So these are fundamental issues. And then removing subsidies from basic necessities of life to be funding pilgrimages with whopping more than 90 billion. And even what President Tinubu gave to Christian Association of Nigeria, that is not protesting, only God can know that. But is Nigeria created for Christianity and Islam or for Nigerians? That's a fundamental question that many Nigerians are not asking, that they should ask if they want their country to develop and life to be robust for them and not suffering in the midst of plenty. There's no other way than to address issues of justice and equity, because that is fairness. And I don't know which God, for God's sake, is insensitive to equity and justice. And which God will that be? Which God? And so, if we want to be children of God, not religious people, children of God, then we must think of justice and equity. So, those who are feeding fat under injustice and inequity are happy and want it to continue. You who don't want it to continue, you must rise and support this coalition. And the drivers must be sensitive to the issue of zonal equity, religious equity, economic equity, political equity. Because all these inequities are bedeviling Nigeria. And until we right the wrong of inequity, will God be happy to even help our nation? So that's the question. Don't let the politicians who are self-serving like Nyesom Wike and all the governors and functionaries that have defected into the All Progressive Congress, don't let them sway you. You who are suffering, you are in the majority. You are the ones to rise with your PVC and say we must vote out this corrupt Keba. But the drivers of the coalition must come out clean, with clear conscience, feasible, right decisions, feasible, right choices. Then, so it's not a case that another All Progressive Congress will rise and say we will be selling petroleum 100 naira when they know that they mean 2,000 naira. Or that, but Tinubu has told us if he fails to give us electricity, he should not be re-elected. Has he giving us electricity? So why, if they are deceiving us, why should we deceive ourselves? For God's sake, why? And I hope that we will wake up from our slumbers, if for ourselves and for our children's children, because our children will have no other country to call their own, as we don't have another country to call our own. So please don't stop sitting on the fence. You government employees, you who have not been opportune to be employed, those who are employed getting poor salaries, and artisans who don't have patronage because of government policies. We should rise above religious and ethnic sentiments for justice and equity that can build a nation.